What's going on? It's Humpday, November 12th, 2025, and if you believe it or don't believe it, it's reality. There's only 49 days left in the year of 2025. So many things to go through tonight, so many things happening in the sports world. Baseball is actually happening in Las Vegas. Somebody's taking his talents to El Segundo. Owner meddling continues in Dallas, but what else is new? And another Los Angeles athlete pulls a heist. We're going to puck around and find out tonight. College football spotlights, a huge NFL Sunday, liquid locks, so many more things. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show, everywhere but Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. And do us a favor. This is the portion of the program where I will grovel a little bit. As I mentioned last night, we talked to a lot of people. TJ does, Vegas Mac, myself, other people involved with the show. You'd be surprised how many people think they're following or they've subscribed that actually haven't. So, depending on what you're watching us on tonight, make sure you hit that follow, like button, whatever else you need to do. Now, of course, we've got a loaded show, and I'm going to start in the middle with the guy I can envision at the Major League Baseball general manager meetings being like the lady in the old Mervin's commercial, tapping on the glass, yelling, open, 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 open. Vegas Mac, what's going on?
Still waiting for that first trade. Hasn't happened yet. We're running out of time. Let's go, boys. Jesus. I don't even care. It can be a trade between it can be between like the Pirates and the Rays. I'll be happy. Not really, but I'll take it.
And that's, of course, our very own Vegas Mac. And to the guy who puts the double T in butt play, Tony James. What's going on, my brother?
Can I offer you a straight-up deal of Paul Skeens for Junior Caminero?
Yeah. Like I said, at this point, I'll take anything you can give me.
Speaking of Paul Skeens, if you missed it, just literally minutes ago, named the National League Cy Young winner to go along with Tarek Skubal. Of the Tigers who won the crown in the American League. T, I'm sorry I cut you off there. You were going somewhere, and I want you to keep going wherever you were going.
I was just going to say, as long as you don't call me Tony Wage Theft, I'm okay.
We'll get the Tony Wage Theft here in just a minute.
Earning all of my money today.
All of it, every single penny of it. Let's move around to what's happening in the sports world today. And as I mentioned, baseball is taking place in Las Vegas. Not the way we want it to be and not the way Vegas Mac wants it to be. But Major League Baseball and the Players Association sat down with each other and started a conversation that's very important to anybody who loves baseball, because after the 2026 season, you're not guaranteed anything right now. And obviously, as we've spoke about, we'll continue to speak about, a lot of things go into that in whether or not we have a baseball season in 2027. But they sat down, they're talking. The GM meeting's going on. The awards obviously coming out. Mac, I know you're in this. This is where you and I are very different. And T, I'll get your take on this here in a second. But I know Mac right now, he's like, I need something. Tell me something. Let's go. Where I'm like, hey, I need like 3.5 weeks here, maybe 4 weeks. Then I'll like cycle myself back to baseball. But Mac, a positive sign, even if it's just a general discussion, we're starting the process early to hopefully avoid losing an entire season, which is a likely possibility at this point.
Yeah, these things are never fun. We know that. And here's the deal. They're going to sit down, they're going to talk, and they'll do that probably 50, 60, 100 more times. And, you know, like all good negotiators, it'll go down to the last little bit before they decide on what they actually want to do. I mean, we all know it's not good for the sport. It's not good for the fans. Fans get discouraged by this because of the amount of money they make and everything else. It's just, I think the sooner they can do it, the better. It's just another black eye on baseball, and we don't need that. Things are going well right now.
T, how are you at this point of the year? Because Mac and I talked about this in a little more length last night about the transition from the end of baseball season and the quick turnaround to like signing free agents and everything else. Are you at the point, and it's an interesting dichotomy with the three of us here, a trichotomy? I don't know. English is not my strong suit, but Mac's team, playoffs. My team danced around with the idea of playoffs, which was laughable, and yours actually had a very consistent season here. So I'm interested to get your take on it. Do you need that little like, hey, give me about 3-4 weeks here? Or are you like, let's go, give me a trade, somebody sign somebody? Where are you at on the transition from the end of baseball to the offseason?
Just give me a little bit of time to breathe. I mean, I just had to watch the quote unquote catch 174 billion times on repeat. And then the golf shot that I don't even remember who hit it. Will Smith. I don't even remember who is playing. What is happening? Let's get some time here. I'm kind of like shut this down till December. I mean, if you look at the calendar, there's only 70 days until spring training games start. Let's just like calm down a little bit, slow down. I'll tune back in December. But, just a comment about, they're having discussions and all that. We've noticed that your boy Bobby Mans likes to screw up everything that he can. So I'm expecting nothing after 26. My expectations are super low that anything's going to happen because he is a complete jackass.
So if you look behind, I'm kind of pointing out, these are little boxes, and these little boxes have the names of all the baseball teams on them because that's where my cards are. And I've started my stack. This is my free agent stack that I've gotten so far. I go through each team and pull out the cards of free agents. And I'd like to get, the stack will get a whole lot bigger, but I'd like it to I like breaking this stack down. I mean, we got a lot of big names in here that we got to get rid of. Devin Williams, Bassett, Cedric Mullins. I mean, Alex Bregman. We got to get this stack down. It's already a little too big. We need to get this
rid
going.
of Devin Williams too.
Hey, well, it's the way that it is.
Right,
Listen, I was gonna say here's the deal. See, that thing is, you guys are using the World Series as the end of your baseball season. I'm not. See, I've had that 3-4 weeks. When the Red Sox lost, the baseball season was officially over. I had my mourning period. I had my rejuvenation period. I'm ready to go now. I've had that 3 or 4 weeks. I'm ready. Who's going to be in Fort Myers? That's what I need to know.
My baseball season ended I'm gonna say somewhere where they got swept at home by the Pirates and the Nationals is about where my baseball season ended.
Mine ended in April. But no, I feel you, because hockey does the same thing, right? They award the cup, then they have the draft 3 or 4 days later, then they have free agent frenzy, and then about 10 or 11 days after the cup is awarded, then everybody goes on vacation for a while. So I see what baseball is doing here, but I'm waiting for everybody to go on vacation.
All right, let's move on through the headlines here so we don't get in a Bobby Manfred tangent, because anytime we talk about him for longer than 15 minutes, you're bound for it to happen. The rest of our headlines from the day, guys, come from the National Basketball Association, and LeBron James is taking his talents to El Segundo. With the South Bay Lakers, he's been cleared to join the G League affiliate of the Lakers, the South Bay Lakers, in El Segundo, where a lot of people have left their wallet, if you know what I'm saying. He was cleared to practice in full, taking part in 5-on-5 drills per Sam Sarania. Some dumbass on X today posted the odds on one of the trading sites for LeBron to be the G League MVP. I know you're going to have some special thoughts on this, T. This is why I put it in the rotation here. So we'll go to Mac first. I'm saying, cool. When he gets back on the floor in a real game for the actual Lakers, fine. Maybe him and Bronny can make G League history, the first father and son to ever play in a G League game. Really don't care, but it's LeBron, it's the Lakers, so it had to be thrown in front of our face today, Mac.
Yeah. Um, LeBron. I mean, does he really need to do this? I mean that's my opinion. I mean, does he really need to go? Again, here's the thing about me and LeBron. If the lights aren't on LeBron, he's not happy. And let's be honest, the lights haven't been on LeBron. So what is he going to do? He's going to go down to this G League and steal some thunder, some light from some poor guy who's trying to make a living down there, trying to make the NBA, and he's just going to take minutes away from him. He doesn't need to do this. They can rehab him in wherever their training facility is. He doesn't need to do this. He's just, again, it's LeBron. He's just looking for the spotlight.
T, have you already purchased your tickets for LeBron's first game, if he actually plays a game, with the South Bay Lakers? Or are you going to sue him after the fact for false advertising like some people did earlier this year?
No, but here's what I'm doing, right? I'm going through my mind right now at crypto, and I'm seeing all the banners, and I see the Lakers championship banners and the Kings, and then I see the in-season tournament banner, and I think right next to that they can put the South Bay Lakers G League champion banner, because this team will not be serious until LeBron is gone. Period. End of story. This is a complete joke, and you're exactly right, Mac. You hit it bang on. He's not happy unless the lights are on him. I'm waiting for the first, LeBron picked up the tab at Applebee's for us all. Yeah. Riblets and Brutus's first. Like, I'm waiting for those stories to come out next.
I don't think that'll happen. I know that's like a baseball thing. You know, when major leaguers go down to the minors, they usually, get a big old spread for these guys. I can't see LeBron doing it. I just can't.
I'm with you. I don't see it either unless there's something in it for him. Unless he gets 15 minutes of FaceTime, he ain't doing that nonsense. This thing's a joke. I agree with you. Like, go rehab with I don't know. Go rehab with UCLA if you want. Who cares?
Staying in the association, and tell me if you've heard this one before, guys. An owner meddling in sports in the city of Dallas, Texas, but this time it's not Jerry Jones. It is governor of the Mavericks, Patrick Dumont, who we talked about last night. So shout out to Patty D for jumping on the program here 2 days in a row after massively botching the Nico Harrison situation and not firing him in the offseason. They allowed him to come back just to fire him at the beginning of the season. Now he says that he's requested, the owner, Patrick Dumont, has requested medical data indicating that Anthony Davis is not at risk of aggravating his left calf strain before giving a green light for the 10-time All-Star big man to return, sources told ESPN on Wednesday. Davis is questionable for tonight's game against the Suns, which is going on, if I remember correctly, might be about right now. I don't know. I can't look that far down in the standings to figure that out. But I get the situation in Dallas here. I really do, because you don't have a general manager. But why the hell did you put Michael Finley and I can't remember the other dude who is in charge of basketball decisions in the interim? Why are we not relying on doctors here, and why do you have a say? Most people would say, well, he owns his team. He should have a say. This is where I say, you know nothing about basketball, Pat. Stay in your damn lane, Mac.
What's in the water in Dallas? I guess that's what we need to decide, because this is just kind of
liquid gold, my friend. Liquid gold all over.
I'll tell you. I mean, for whatever the reason, but you're 100% right. And here's the thing, if I was an owner of a team, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and find the best people to run my team. I mean, that's what you do in business. I mean, that's what this is. This is a business. A business person shouldn't be running they can run the dollars part of it, but the basketball operations needs to be done by somebody who actually knows what's going on. No offense, you're talking about bringing a spotlight to your team in such a bad way. You're making this Mavericks organization look foolish, 2 days in a row. Congratulations.
I just don't get it. Like I don't understand why owners think that they're in fantasy sports land and that they can just do whatever they want. And because they're the owner, like some of the best owners in sports are those who go, yeah, I'm signing the checks, but this guy over here, he makes all the decisions. I trust him. Mm-hmm. That's how an owner should be.
Yep.
Just be there to sign the checks, and that's fine. And whatever's happening in Dallas, like, just
that's exactly it. And right now, early on in Dallas, the 3-8 Mavericks are up. The Mavs are up 10-4 on the Suns early. Anthony Davis not in the lineup, not in uniform tonight. Finally, as
Not
we
a
move through the
surprise
headlines here, Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is missing the entire season. Hip surgery per his agent. Beal, who signed a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Clippers. Player option for next year. The 32-year-old averaged career lows 8.2 points, 1.7 rebounds per game over the 6 games he played in this season. Another athlete in LA collecting paychecks, not doing work. Seems to be a resounding thing in Los Angeles everywhere, but with the Dodgers. I questioned this signing in the offseason 1,000%. And I think it's kind of appropriate that the egg is on the Clippers' face here. Not only with this situation, but the guy they could have brought back who might be an all-star so far with the way he started. The Clippers have been nothing short of reality TV in Los Angeles to start this season, Mac. And I can't really say that I'm not enjoying this. Obviously, we don't want to see anybody get injured. What happened to Bradley Beal is unfortunate, but at the same time, you have a Clippers team here that's trying everything, throwing whatever they can on the Intuit Dome's wall to see what sticks, and nothing sticks. And I can't wait to see this thing absolutely implode, Mac.
Yeah, I feel really bad. I mean, it just seems, a couple of years ago, Bradley Beal he was, you could say probably one of the top 10 players in the NBA. He really was. I mean, and then just, once he left Washington and headed on out to Phoenix and whatnot, it's like his career just bottomed out for whatever reason. It's just crazy how this happens sometimes, and I just don't get it. But it's always funny to me that certain organizations, and the Clippers are a great example, just can never seem to figure it out. Honestly, I think they could have found a way to screw up Shaquille O'Neal in his prime. That it's just the way that it is. Just that for whatever the reason, the Clippers are one of those organizations that it's like there's a dark cloud over that franchise. They just go young, go old, go this, go that. It just nothing works for this organization, and it's just another step in the wrong direction for them.
But the Intuit Dome has the best bathrooms in the NBA, and don't you even think twice about that. Developers. Look, I agree with you. I mean, they made the West Final in 21, and ever since there, it's just been a comedy of errors. I mean, it's nice that they got their own building. I kind of respect them for that because they're the owners of their own building, which is how you want to be in sports right now. You don't want to be a tenant. You want to be in your own place. But yeah, like some of these moves that they're making, and look, I mean, they're running on borrowed time here. I mean, let's face it, Kawhi's no spring chicken, and he only plays 45 to 50 games a year, if that. You got James Harden, who is, I don't know, probably one of the most selfish players in the league. This team's on borrowed time, man.
I disagree with you. I think they're on father time.
Wow, the singer early from Vegas.
Sorry,
Speaking of joking around, let's get into some hockey because it's Wednesday, so it's time to puck around and find out. Interesting start to the season, guys. Some interesting games going on tonight. The Rangers in Tampa dropped 7 goals in our lap in the first period of that game. It's 5-3 at the end of the second. Why are the Rangers playing well tonight? Well, that's because they're not at home. They're in Tampa. But, kind of an interesting little thing that was thrown out by Greg Wyshynski and Christian Chilton today on ESPN.com. And I'm really interested to get your guys' take because I know these are two teams we've talked about a lot. I know Friday's the first time, Mac, that you're going to drop the first rankings in your hole on Friday. So the premise of this article, and we'll go around the table here, and I'll start with you, Mac. Are the Utah Mammoth and the Anaheim Ducks really this good? Was where the article went. And I know we're still early in the season, but we've seen at least enough of a sample size so far to kind of see who's got their shit together and who doesn't. Another one of those teams TJ talked about a little bit earlier in Edmonton, but let's stay on Utah and Anaheim specifically, Mac. Do you think both of them are as good as we've seen out of the gates?
I'm definitely buying Anaheim. I mean, they were a team at the beginning of the year when I looked at them that I thought that they could make some noise in the Western Conference. I mean, it was just how well they were going to kind of put it all together. I think that's what we were looking for last year is how well they could put it together, and they just never seemed to gel. I think that was the big thing. I think from a talent standpoint, they have the talent there. They just did not seem to gel. So I'm not surprised that Anaheim, Utah. I mean, we again, it's one of those things. I go back. It just they without it. I hate to keep saying it, but they just feel like the Coyotes all over again. They just do it. It's like they go on this really nice run, and then they win 6 or 7, and then they lose 6 or 7, and they're like a perennial 500 team is what they feel like to me. They just cannot seem. And T, I know you said that before, they just can't seem to get over the hump. And I don't know if it's their goaltending. I mean. We've always said it's like, man, they've got good young talent. They got good young talent, but it just never seems to get them over the edge. I still don't know that they have enough to get them over the edge. Could they? To me, they're still a fringe playoff team.
No, I completely agree with you on the Mammoth. And it used to be a strength of this team that was their defense when they had like Chikrin and Gostisbehere and players like that, Ekman Larson, Jalmerson, those types of guys. The defense was a strength. Now it's not a strength anymore because, they got a good season out of Sergachev last year, surprisingly healthy season. But Durzi was out most of the year, and Durzi was the big guy that they acquired a couple of years ago that was going to shore up this defense. And he just, since the move, he just hasn't had a role because he's been injured. I mean, and it's a bummer. But I'm sorry, no offense to these guys, but John Marino, Ole Mata, Nick DeSimone are guys that do not scare me if I'm an opposing team with Bafo forwards. Now, Utah has great forwards. I think their forward group is outstanding. But, dude, they can't – there's a reason why they're forwards and they're not defense. I also don't think the goaltending is good enough right now. I think they're smoke and mirrors right now in Utah.
Yeah, and Utah in action here in just a little bit against Buffalo tonight at home in Salt Lake. Anaheim back in action next in one of the big games that we have kind of pegged for the week here against the Red Wings from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Tickets as low as $18 to get the Vegas Max angle in there. This Red Wings team, another team, guys, that has been an interesting follow, especially through the offseason. You've got Todd McClellan there, and he gets his first full season to stamp this thing. 9-7, 5-3 at home to get out of the gates for the Red Wings. But with the Thursday night football game that we have on tomorrow, and I'll reverse the order here. We'll go T then Mac. I'm gonna have this one on a side screen because I'm interested to see. Again, about this Ducks team, and I took a lot of flack when I said Joel Quenneville was the right guy for the job against this Red Wings team that's kind of off to an interesting start here as well. Ducks Red Wings tomorrow night. What do you think?
You have it on a side screen. I'm gonna have it up front, and here's the reason why. The Ducks have done this start. I mean, and the trade of John Gibson had to happen because Lucas Dostal is that good. And he took the job away from John Gibson. So Gibson had to go. God bless him. He was a great Duck, but he had to go. but this team has gotten the right mix of young players who have absolutely no muscle memory when they make a mistake, which is fantastic for a young player. And you've got really good veterans like New York Rangers West, plus, a couple of other players in there. This is a great, I really like what Anaheim has done. And here's the impressive thing. They've done most of it so far in the first 6 weeks on the road. They've only played a handful of home games, and they've got a few home games coming up starting next Monday. And we'll be able to see what they're made of. I do think they're going to come back to the pack a little bit, but this is, look, you can't win the division in October. You can't make the playoffs in October. But when you have 11 wins under your belt out of the first 16, that's going to be really big once March and April rolls around.
Mac, what do you think tomorrow night?
I mean, I just think Anaheim's just a much better team at this point of the season. I mean, Detroit's, playing a whole lot better than I probably thought they would have. But I mean, just one thing though, can they not wear those highlighter uniforms? I just, that's got to go. I'm sorry. I know it's a uniform thing.
Those of you joining us for the first time here, Mac is our uniform aficionado on the program.
Yeah, that when they played Vegas the other night, that was rough. I had to put glasses on, sunglasses. It was rough.
Well, I think you're going to get Mrazek tomorrow. Mrazek against Gibson, so we'll see how that goes. I like the over on that one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Let's look at a couple of the other big games on the week. And again, Saturday is a great hockey day for those of you trying to plan your weekends accordingly as you go. Lightning at Panthers, which is never shy of any drama, as we all know. And then an interesting one, and T, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Mac here, because this involves Mac's team now that he is not a fan free agent anymore, and the team you spoke about specifically on our social channels at Mike Arana Show today, the Edmonton Oilers. And Lightning Panthers, we know what we're going to get out of that, but more specific to this one, I'm really going to be watching this one kind of closely with everything else that's going on Saturday night, because of the issues that this Oilers team is having. And the Hurricanes, are they the team that can finally end the Panthers? I'm really excited to see this one early in the season.
Well, and here's the thing with the Oilers too and they're supposed to get Zach Hyman back this week sometime if everything goes right. And that was 54 goals 2 years ago. But Zach Hyman is one person, and he's not going to fix. He's not playing goal, right? And the goaltending has been meh, and one of the issues that we've seen, and we've seen it with the Leafs, and we've seen it with a couple other teams, is when you spend big on a few players, your depth better be bang on. You better be really good at with the players that you sign. And their goaltending has been relatively on the cheap compared to others. They've got 3 defensemen who are at $7 million plus. You know what the forwards are like. So they have to hit exactly. Now, the Oilers are going to get it together. We saw this 2 years ago. They had a horrible start. Last year, they had not a great start. They're going to get it together. We know that they are. But the question is this. With the 2-year contract extension that Connor McDavid signed, can this team afford to wait until late November, December, January to make moves if they need to? They're 3 games under 500 right now. They're 7-10. So that they don't look like a finals team to me.
T, or Mac, sorry. That was you, T. Very good job. Now Vegas, Mac.
This Carolina team has just been absolutely injury-ridden on their blue line so far this year. They've just really haven't really gotten going. Part of that you can see in their power play. They finally scored a power play goal, their only goal last night. Their power play just hasn't got it going. Ehlers has been snake bitten. I mean, I think he's hit more posts this year than anything else. He's only got 1 goal. He hasn't kind of got going. The thing about the Hurricanes is that they come at you in waves and just, they have so many guys that can score. And that's what I've really enjoyed about watching them. Can I tell you how much I enjoy watching hockey and I have somebody to root for? It's been so refreshing to just dive back in and go. But I really I think the Hurricanes are going to be fine. Like you said, they're finally starting to get a couple of guys back on the defensive side. Their goaltending has been pretty good. I haven't had any problem with that. And like I said, what makes them so difficult is just they are a barrage, one line after another after another. They have 3 or 4 lines that are just so deep. I mean, every night it's somebody else who's scoring goals. Like I said, and Ehlers hasn't even gotten going yet. So, are they going to be the team to dethrone Florida? I don't know that they are, but they could be one of them. Like I said, I'm really starting to put a lot of stock in New Jersey right now.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Every Wednesday we puck around and find out right off the top here. I'm going to take this opportunity because I don't know how many times I'm going to get this opportunity to inject a little personal narrative here. I just want everybody watching to know that 2 of the 3 hottest teams in the Western Conference and 3 of the hottest 5 teams in the NHL as a whole reside in the Pacific Division, and that is the Anaheim Ducks and your fighting Team Teal San Jose Sharks. I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger on a make the playoffs bet because they're not there. But it's been really, really fun. And Mac, you just said this, and this will be our final hockey word around the table here. But you just said this, how fun it is for you to have a hockey team to root for again. For me, it's just fun to enjoy watching hockey again because the freaking Sharks and what they've done over the last 10 games and who they've had to play, it's been really damn fun, even at 8:30 at night local time, to turn on Puck Drop for a Sharks game. Mac, final words on the current state of the NHL, and then T's got a pop quiz.
I love the fact that I can look up at the Atlantic Division and I see Montreal and then Boston. That is fun. Good old Adams division right there. That makes me happy.
You're going to trigger me on the Bruins here. T, your final word on hockey.
I think I mentioned this in the group text the other day. Barry Trotz might want to get his whistle ready because it is a matter of if and not when. This team is bad. They're bad.
They're horrible.
And auto parts, Ryan O'Reilly's probably going to be the first one to go. But I mean, this team is just they won the offseason, and dude, they're dreadful again. Just dreadful.
It's crazy to think with all that talent that they really have, veteran talent, that they can't put it together.
I want the record to reflect, and I have witnesses, they're on this damn program. I've been calling for Barry Trotz to get his whistle ready for about a season and a quarter now. It's going to happen. Second of all, shame on you, Boston Bruins. And I'll say this and preface it with congrats to David Pastrnak, who scored goal number 400 the other night. It was goal number 400. We didn't need to empty the entire effing bench to go celebrate goal number 400. Can you be any more masshole than that in that current? I mean, Jesus, Mac. Do you want to defend your hometown team? Close to your hometown team? That was horseshit last night.
I mean, 400 goals is a pretty big milestone. That's 400 more than I've scored. I mean,
Ovi says, hold my Dr. Pepper and Cheetos.
Yeah, but I mean,
400, come on, the whole bench.
But listen, I mean, the Bruins haven't had a whole lot to play for the last couple of years. It's been rough going, and they're having themselves a good start to the season, and they're a happy bunch of guys. I don't have a problem with it. You know what? I mean, that's a huge milestone. There's not a lot of people that get to 400 goals.
There's not a lot of people that get to 400 goals twice either.
That's true.
The Bees on a 7-game winning streak right now, so obviously good things out there in Boston. All right, T. Mac had to do this last night. College hoops is underway.
Good luck,
It's time to play our final edition of Hooper or Not a Hooper. Mac did pretty good last night. I think Mac went 2-1 last night, if I remember right.
Yep, correct.
I did give Mac Solo Ball as his first one, who plays at UConn. I did scour the Nevada roster. There was nothing I could play with there. So here we go. All right, your first
That's
one.
that's what their coach says.
Jesus. Your first one, appropriate.
They've already got twice as many wins as the football team.
That's true. That is very true. All right, your first one, appropriate for Hump Day. Calm down, perps. Hooper or not a Hooper? Buddy Hammer Jr. Buddy Hammer Jr.
I'll take Hooper.
That is correct. He is a Hooper for the Mean Green of North Texas.
Over Machine.
Careful, TJ. He's dipping into the Ivy League one of these times.
That's the third one. I'm pulling a U. I'm on the fence on that one. All right, second one, T. Hooper or not a Hooper? Federico.
Ooh, that sounds like a Hooper to me.
Federico is a Hooper for the Texas A&M Aggies. Also, Frederico's is something that T and I would say drunk when we lived together out loud, and we'd go down the street to one of Arizona's better burrito joints. All right, last one for you here. Boogie Fland. Boogie Fland.
Boogie Fland?
Yes.
I'm going to say not a Hooper.
That is incorrect, sir. He is a Hooper for your defending, reigning national champion Florida Gators, transferred from Arkansas. So Mac got the UConn question right. T had to default to being a Florida fan because Nevada basketball didn't challenge us with anything. All right, so you both went 2-1. All right, then I got to do a tiebreaker real quick. I will start with Mac because he had to go first yesterday. Pig Johnson. Hooper or not a Hooper? Pig Johnson.
Oh, absolutely. He's a ball hog.
He is a Hooper for your Arizona State Sun Devils.
So, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I hate it here.
All right. All right, here we go. T, your tiebreaker question is Blue Cane. Blue Cane. Hooper or not a Hooper?
Hooper.
Damn it. Apparently next week we'll settle the tie. Hooper for the Georgia Bulldogs and Mike White, who will never win anything. I digress. Let's get into some college football from the college hoops world. And we've got an interesting situation here, guys. T, you weren't with us last night. I know you've seen the current formation of what would be the college football playoff bracket. The ACC is a giant cluster F, and not in the good way that the Big 12 is a giant cluster F. So as we start our previews for our spotlight games that do have impacts in the college football world, we're going to start at Duke, Virginia, who jumped onto our radar and then drove off the cliff of our radar in just 1 week's time. They are on the road. Number 14, Virginia, on the road at Duke, is a underdog to the Blue Devils. This is kind of a big game when it comes to the constitutes that make up the Atlantic Coast Conference that covers both coasts. Because when you look at the standings in the ACC, guys, here, we've got a giant mess. We've got Georgia Tech, who I don't think any of us would argue. Well, maybe. Mac seems to be the contrarian. But I think most of us would argue the fact that Georgia Tech is the best team in the ACC. And if you disagree with me when it's your turn, feel free. But then we have Virginia, Pitt, and SMU, and Duke at 4-1, all tied at the top of the conference in conference record. This game is massive, Mac, as it goes to determining what happens with the ACC's bid or bids and the college football playoff. First thoughts, Virginia and Duke.
The thing with Virginia, I know they lost their quarterback last week, Chandler Morris. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. And I think that's a big deal. because Virginia's has a hard time scoring points, and they're going up against a Duke defense that's not really all that great, especially in the secondary. But there's one thing that Duke can do. They can put 50 on you. They could put 60 on you. They can score. For me, I don't know that Virginia has enough offense to be able to keep up with Duke in this game. And especially if they're not going to have their starting quarterback in, I would have to give a definite edge to the Blue Devils in this one, if that's the case. Even if Morris is playing, I still think Duke will win this game.
T minus 4.5 for the Devils, over unders at 58.5. As far as we know right now, as we sit on Wednesday, it looks like Chandler Morris is good to go. Tickets as low as $43 at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, North Carolina. T, Virginia and Duke. Does the home team get upset? Sounds weird to say that.
Seems like a trap position for Virginia, because I've thought that Virginia was one of the class teams of the ACC, and to see Duke come up in the rearview mirror is just it's like when you're speeding down the highway and all of a sudden the smoky comes up behind you and like, what the hell is that? That's how I feel Duke is right now. But to quote one of our favorite sound bites, Duke is Duke. They're on more than Leave It to Beaver reruns. I like Duke, dude. I like Duke in this game. I think they upset Virginia.
It's weird because, technically it would not be an upset by the point spread,
right.
But by rankings, yeah. And, it's interesting here, and I know this is a team that Mac was really high on going into the season, and I think maybe this might have been the reason that you kind of shied away from Tulane. Mac is Darian Mensah, and he's had a ridiculously good year for Duke. For Duke football, they spent a lot of money to get him to transfer over there. And at 2,794 yards, 24 touchdowns to 4 picks, you are absolutely thrilled if you're a Duke fan at what he's brought to the table. I don't know which way I would think of this as an upset, Mac.
Yeah, I got to watch Duke last week when they played UConn. Like I said, I love what they do from an offensive standpoint. Yeah, you're right. Everything points towards like this should be a Virginia victory when you look at it, but I just don't see it. For me, I look at it from an offensive standpoint. I think this is going to be kind of the ACC teams don't always put up the biggest numbers, but I just don't see where Virginia's going to put up the points to stay with Duke. I just think no matter what, like I said, Duke doesn't care if they give up 40 points because it's going to score 53, 54 points.
Yeah, and I think for me with Duke is the game that they lost on September 6th at home to Illinois, 45-19. I watched that entire game, and that score was not indicative of the way that game was played. And when I look at Duke's general schedule, they played Georgia Tech. They lost that one 27-18. Mensah had a huge game there, 373 through the air in the losing effort. But it was that game against Illinois when I saw what Duke, I thought their potential could have been. I think we all kind of overreacted a little bit to Virginia. So I in this one, I do love the over. I also like Duke to cover the 4.5 here. We got T's pick. We need yours, Switzerland. You going with the Devils?
Yeah, I'm going to take Duke. I'll even. You said 4.5. Absolutely. I think Duke wins this one. I don't think it's really going to be close. I think like a 10, 12 point game.
All right. 10, 12 point game was what Max said there at the end. If you missed it, again, we appreciate you guys sticking with us. I'm dealing with some technical issues still. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. The next one, I know T could not wait to talk about this, so I am absolutely going to go to T first on this one. But a under the radar, very important, sneaky good game in the Big Ten, because as much as we don't want to admit it, because I think we're universal on Lincoln Riley on this show, USC is still a major factor here if one of those top two teams has a little bit of a hiccup at the LA Coliseum. 1:30 kickoff or 12:30 kickoff in LA. Iowa and USC. Game of the weekend. I was actually very impressed with what Iowa brought to the table. When you look at the combination of Maava and Lemon for USC, endless potential, but then I get hung up on Lincoln Riley. First thoughts, T. Iowa and USC, and I know you've got a lot to say about the Trojans.
I don't see. Well, first off, did they do any more uniform number switching this week? Because that was hokey as all get out. What a farce! Like if your team, USC should have been, they should have won the game regardless. But when you got to be hokey and do garbage plays like that and stunts, that's dumb. But enough about Lincoln Riley. Here's the thing: Iowa just wins games. They've just won games this year, and no matter how ugly it is, they don't care. You are going to play Iowa's way when you play Iowa, and if you win playing Iowa's way, then rock out, dude. Go celebrate. Oregon did that. That game was gross. It was probably Oregon's toughest game of the year. The environment was outstanding, and they came through. And now Iowa has to take that defense and go to SC. I love this matchup for Iowa. I think this is going to be great to see if Iowa can shut down another just electric offense. And this is going to be a huge challenge. And this is going to say a lot for what Kirk Ferentz has done this year.
Absolutely. Matt, what do you think? USC, Iowa, first thoughts.
Here's my thing. The strength for Iowa on an offensive standpoint is, they want to run the ball. They want to chew up the clock. That's just kind of how Iowa plays. They're a really good defensive team. But here's the thing. USC's not looking to run the ball anyway. USC wants to throw the ball. And so I think that's kind of the advantage that they have is that they're going to spread you out. They're going to just try to get the ball down the field as much as they can. We've talked about this before. One of the things in the Lincoln Riley offense is that they always have somebody who potentially on every single play is looking for a seam to score a touchdown. I just think. It's one of those things. Iowa just kind of always makes it kind of a difficult game, but I just think again, it's kind of like what we just talked about with Duke and Virginia. I just think USC has too much offense. I just think it's going to be hard for Iowa to score enough points to win the game. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a high scoring game. That's not what I mean. But I mean, even if they get to like 26 or 27, I just don't see Iowa having a chance to win that game.
Numbers on this game, -6.5 for the Trojans, over under at 49.5. Supposed to be just a possible, typical day in SoCal at this time of year. 63 possible rain is what it is. Let's start with the picks. We'll go across from T back to me. So you first, T. -6.5 for the Trojans, over 49.5. Or do we wait for liquid locks?
Do you know who the winningest quarterback right now in Division I football is?
Mark
Gronowski of Iowa. This guy is a machine, and I would expect him. Like, Iowa's not going to wow you through the air, but you have to be prepared to stop the running attack. And Gronowski is outstanding as a runner. I'm taking the 6.5 with Iowa.
Vegas Mac, Iowa USC, over, under, or side?
I'm just going to take USC on the money line. I just think I can see where it could get really, really close. I like USC on the money line.
Mac going with the very conservative bet 100 to win 38. I don't know what the actual money line is. It won't be that close. Two very evenly matched up teams. Obviously, when you go strength on strength, this is what we all ask for as football fans. You've got Iowa's fantastic defense, and you've got USC's ridiculously prolific offense here. I hate that I feel this way because I don't like it. So that's my maybe hint, wink, wink to you that, like, don't listen to me on this game. But I would lay the 6.5 here with USC, because what I think happens in this game is USC's defense is good enough to kind of screw with Iowa's okay offense. Couple of short fields. I think this game turns into something that eventually Iowa can't keep up with. And that's where I'd feel comfortable laying the 6.5. But then I look at the head coach's picture at USC, who I told you guys last week after that game against Northwestern, this dude is so checked out. He redefines the picture of checked out right now. But I'm gonna side with USC, especially with it being a home game for the Trojans. Our final one. Speaking of gigantic conundrums, if you can't catch up on this theme for our spotlights this week, we go to the Big 12. And we've got an interesting matchup where Utah travels to McLean Stadium in Waco to take on Baylor. And when you look at the situation in the Big 12, while it's the same mess as the ACC, the quality is way higher here in the Big 12. Texas Tech, BYU, Cincinnati, 1, 2, 3, all with one loss. Then you've got Houston and Utah and Arizona State, all with 2 losses here. Baylor was a team we all expected a lot out of. We talked about Baylor specifically in our conference previews, and at 5-4 overall, I think a lot of people disappointed with this Baylor team. This is a nighttime kickoff. It's 4:30 on the West Coast. Don't ask me to get to the Texas time zone there, but it's a night game. Everybody will be liquored up. Everybody's going to be boozed up. The Big 12, it's a party brand of football. Like them or hate them. I think this is a very tricky spot for a Utah team that has continued to just finally look like what I thought they were going to be when I said they'd win the Big 12, Mac. What do you think of this one? I think it's a tricky spot for the Utes.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but listen, Baylor, especially on defense, is pathetic. I mean, they're just really, really bad. There isn't anything good about their defense, and this is a Utah team that we see that they do nothing but just pound you in the face from play number one. They just pound you. I just don't see where Baylor has the intestinal fortitude to win this game. Yeah, woo, man. I think Utah wins this one going away.
How am I the only one that caught that? Are you even paying attention over there, Tehota?
No, I'm not.
How many times can Max say pound you in the face, and I'm the only one that gets it?
No, I got it.
Mac cut.
I got it. I was just, kind of in my mind replaying between pound me in the face and all the butt play comments.
Get this train back on the tracks.
I don't know if I can do that, dude. But everything you said about Baylor is absolutely correct, although those yellow and green unis are fire. This is going to be – I think this is Baylor's last opportunity to say we are a good team and watch out for us in 26. And this would be a great statement game for them to do this. I actually like Baylor in this game straight up. I think that they're going to win this game.
Wow.
I don't know why, because all of the numbers, like you said, Mac, they're not great on defense. Utah's defense is 16th nationally, 5th against the pass. Sawyer Robertson has 26 touchdowns and 7 picks. So you're going to need a big game from Robertson to win this game. But I think they're going to do it. And they're going to send those drunk Bear fans into the Waco night with a win.
That sounds like the beginning of a Keith Morrison Dateline episode right there. Mac, what do you think on this one? And then I'll give my pick.
I think Utah pounds them into the ground. No problem at all. They're going to cover.
I'm the youngest one on this program, for those that are wondering. And your 2-year-old mind, I think, gets worse than mine at times. Jesus.
Yeah, you can lay the 7.5. It's not going to be a problem. Utah's got this one covered.
McLean is a tough place to play, regardless of how they are. And I think we were all high on Baylor going into the season because of their quarterback, Sawyer Robertson, who's a senior. 2,780 yards, 26 TDs, 7 picks. I think that's why everybody was so high on this Baylor team. And, you know, I think it's a tough spot. And because the number's at 7.5, I can very much see Utah winning this game, but I don't know if I can really see them winning the game by more than a touchdown because of the environment. So I'm going to take the 7.5 and not go off the deep end like T did, even though I don't think it's a bad bet to take Baylor on the money line. I'm gonna take Baylor plus the 7.5. So T and I will have some more thoughts on 4 spots each in our college football Saturday on Lunchtime Live tomorrow, and more on this on Friday on Lunchtime Live as well. Let's get to the National Football League here, guys, before the end of the program tonight. And we've got a fantastic weekend dropped in our laps by the NFL, especially when you look at the afternoon games here. And before we get into those 3, I need to pop this up real fast for you guys. I thought this is, especially when you look at it at this time of the year, I think is important. And let me, there we go. All right. So this is the NFL reserved list cap hit. So the teams that are most injured, whether it be injured reserve, out for the season, whatever. And it's kind of interesting to go through this because you see certain teams in certain spots. I think any of us looking at this graphic right now would go, oh, of course, San Francisco over 100 million. They're number 1 on the list because it's been that way for like the last 3 or 4 years. But it's the placement of some of these other teams in here that I think tells a story, especially when you go to the very bottom of the list at number 32 and the Packers at only 9.9 million on that reserve list cap hit. Because what we saw again on Monday, guys, was, and Mac, you and I touched on this a little bit last night. I wanted to get us all into this here. You saw on Monday yet again another great performance by the Packers defense, which is to be expected because we've seen it all year. And we saw in yet another game where T's version of Justin Herbert and how he thinks Herbert doesn't deserve the flowers, for those of you that know, is me with Jordan Love. And this team, they cannot score. And that's a problem. And everybody wanted to throw Jordan Love to the top of their friggin' lists at the beginning of the year. Nobody took into account the fact that he's got a very unproven wide receiver core and all that. So I think that list tells a decent sized story. And we'll go back to this over the next couple weeks. But we sit here on a weekend that has massive games, Mac, in both the AFC and the NFC. And it's kind of interesting because it doubles down on the point that we've talked about over the last couple of days, that there's so much mid in the NFL right now. And I think right now you could say any number of 7 teams could win a Super Bowl. Am I high, or are you buying that?
No, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, I think, there's one game that I just pull up right in the middle that kind of exemplifies that. And that's Carolina and Atlanta. I look at this game and I'll be honest with you, like, I have no idea who's going to win this game. Atlanta's at home. I think, wow, they played pretty well. But it seems like if it's not a primetime game or a game in another country, Atlanta doesn't show up. So I don't know. There's just so many. Of these games that I look and I say I just don't know. Tampa Bay and Buffalo. Again, that's another one that's a coin. I think this should be the marquee game for us guys, because both our teams, the Chargers and Jags, who's going to win that game? I don't know, because I don't know what team is showing up for either one of these teams.
Yeah, and before you retort to that, T, hey, look at me in big words. I feel like this is an appropriate time to remind everybody that the Rams, a team that a lot of people are high on, that Mac and I are not as high on as we talked about last night. We'll get T's thoughts here in a second. But the Rams own the first-round draft pick next year of said Atlanta Falcons, who are 3-6 in Jekyll and Hyde because of the trade they made to move up and get James Pierce Jr., who right now is not putting up the numbers that warrant that trade. That being said, T, so much mid in the NFL, higher by that there's at least 7 teams that you could look at right now and go, they could win a Super Bowl.
Well, I think you're right, and I hate to say it, but one of those teams is the team that right now would be on the I believe they'd be on the outside looking in for the playoffs, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's just because they have the pedigree. They've done it before. This team gives 0 Fs about the regular season. Just get them to January so they can. Where do you want us to go this week? You want us to go to Baltimore? You want us to go to Buffalo? You want us to go to SoFi? Wherever you want us to go, we will go and win a football game to go to the next round. I think there's 7 easily that could win this thing. And I don't know if that's – I don't think that's the mid that you're talking about, though. That mid is like those 7 seeds that you're looking at going, or even the 6 seeds that are like, what are these teams? Like those 6 and 7 seeds are very interchangeable at this point.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think there's 2 levels of mid, and we could go on this tangent for an hour, guys. So let me try and keep us in line here. I think there's 2 levels to mid. I think there's the 7 or 8 that could win the Super Bowl, and they're all kind of even with each other. And then there's the 7 or 8 after that are playoff teams, fringe teams that are also kind of mid and similar to each other. The first game that we're going to talk about, ironically, pits 2 of those teams, and that's the Bucks traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Bills 5.5-point favorites, and the over/under at 50.5, and both of these teams coming off of, I think a lot of people would say, surprising results last week. I think there was a lot of people that thought the Pats could go into Tampa and beat the Bucks. I don't think anybody thought we were going to see happen to the Bills what happened to the Bills. We know what the Bills' issues are. We know what the Bucks' issues are. First thoughts on this game with these kind of teams we're talking about, Vegas Mac, as Cody checks in. Possible
there you go.
Right now.
But yeah, absolutely. I
Ross checking in too.
I just think a little bit of the shine has kind of fallen off of the Buccaneers a little bit. I mean, I think at the beginning of the year they were playing really well. I don't see it right now. I mean, everything with Baker Mayfield, he's still having a good year, but he's not kind of at the level that he was at the beginning of the year. I think just a lot of the injuries have finally caught up to Tampa Bay. I mean, their defense is still really, really good. I'm just waiting for this Bills team to have, again, one of those weeks. And I just think this could be one of those weeks that they kind of put it all together.
T, first thoughts before a pick.
Dude, I think you're right. I mean, and we're all waiting. We're waiting for these teams to separate themselves, and they won't do it. And it's frustrating because we talked about it at the onset of the season, how the path was paved for the Buffalo Bills to go wire to wire, and they're not going to do it. And we're like, this is Josh Allen, this dynamic offense. Like, what's the problem here? And then we see what the problem is. The problem is they couldn't cover a cold kid with a blanket last week. So it's frustrating, yes, but maybe that's just how it's going to be. I don't know. This Bucks team needs a win in the worst way this week. They need it in the worst way.
Yeah, absolutely. Cody checking in again. Again, if you missed last night's show, I'll send this reminder out because Cody did it for us. If you're at a sporting event, you're out there and you're at a bucket list sporting event or just a game you wanted to get to, email us, MikeAranaShow@gmail.com. Send us those pictures, and we'll get as many of them out and up as we can, as Cody did that we showed on last night's show. Guys, I think when I look at this game and I go to make a pick, I agree with both of you guys, especially like the last thing you said there, T. Tampa needs this win in the worst way right now. They do, but I don't think that they should fear Carolina from the backside. But I think Jesus, I just did a Mac there. I caught myself after it came out of my mouth. They shouldn't fear Carolina from the backside. What I saw last week with the Bills, I think, is concern number 2 that I have with Buffalo, but it's something that we talked about in our NFL season preview show. You saw last week, Miami said, the hell with this, James Cook is not beating us. And they did whatever they could to bottle James Cook. And it emphasized something that we've talked about, that the Bills' wide receivers leave a lot to be desired. And when 17 can't run and 4 can't run, the only guy you have that I think that can create anything from a catch passer standpoint is Dalton Kincaid. And I'm not throwing. I love Khalil Shakir. I think Keon Coleman's going to be great, but this is a concern that we had with the Bills. So their inability to stop the run, and the fact that if they can't run themselves with Josh or with James Cook, Buffalo's fucked. For lack of any better term, that's what they are. And I think that kind of really emphasizes itself this weekend because Todd Bowles is a defensive dude. He knows how to do those things that make you uncomfortable. And I think he's going to try and do what Miami did with better playmakers to stop the Bills' run. So I like Tampa on the money line a little bit here. I definitely love them catching 5.5. Mac, what do you got in this one?
I think this is a week that Buffalo kind of figures some things out. I think they need to win as much as anybody. I like Buffalo in this one. I'm even going to give up the 5.5 points. I think they find a little something this week.
T, what do you got in this one?
You know, it would really help the Bucs cause. I think they cover the 5.5 anyway, but it would really help the Bucs cause if they could get Bucky Irving back in there because he's so dynamic out of the backfield, does so many things really well. You can tell this offense misses him greatly. No shade to Rashad White, but Bucky Irving is a better back. I'm taking the Bucs.
Cody says take the under. TJ says take the Bucs. You know, it'll be an interesting one. And another very interesting one is a massive battle in the NFC West as the Seahawks head to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Can't wait to see the crowd disbursement in this game. Matthew Stafford 5-0 against the Seahawks since he's been a Ram. Mike McDonald, 1 loss on the road in his entire tenure so far as the Seahawks coach, and that was over a year ago to Detroit. This is a really interesting game, and T, I'll start with you here first because Mac and I talked about the Rams a little bit, and neither one of us is super sold on this Rams team. What are your first takes as you look into the Seahawks-Rams game down the street from you through 3 hours of traffic?
Yes, sir. Here's what I would say. In the last 2 games, the Seahawks have put up 44 and 38 points. I'll even go back to the one before that. They put up 27 against the Texans. Do you think that the Rams can score 28 against the Seahawks? If you do, then you're probably going to get a Rams win. Otherwise, I don't think they have a chance. I love the chemistry right now between Stafford and Devontae. And I hope Devontae is able to play because Devontae looks rejuvenated, which is great for him. But I don't like the Rams' chances of scoring all that many points this weekend.
Yeah, and interesting point on Devontae. Devontae has basically told Sean McVay, "I will play this week," and he's dealing with an oblique there. Obviously, a big part of how this goes. But Mac, I think T actually had a solid point that I haven't heard used yet. Do you think the Rams can score 28 on Seattle's defense? And what are your thoughts?
I said this yesterday. I'm going to say it again today. This is the week for the Rams to prove to me that they are a legitimate contender. I truly say that. I've been so impressed with Seattle. Home or away, it doesn't seem to matter. They've had a really good year. Rams win this game, you prove to me that you're legitimately a contender to win in the NFC. I mean that's what I'm looking for. Looking forward in this game. This is kind of a prove me kind of game. From a betting standpoint, if you're going to give me points, I'm going to take Seattle. they're just that good. I mean, they're too good of a team not to take the points.
You guys know what I've said about Mike McDonald going back to even last year, and what I thought he was capable of in Seattle when they got all the players in there. I think the trade for Rashid Shaheed is going to benefit Seattle in ways that Seattle doesn't even realize it's going to benefit. I am concerned with their ability to consistently run the ball. That would be my character flaw of Seattle right now. But those two backs in Charbonnet and Walker, really, really damn good. And I think it comes down to this point. And Seattle doesn't particularly play very well, especially in Los Angeles against the Rams. They don't play well in general against the Rams. But this is a different animal now. And I've said this to my fiance, a Seahawks fan, plenty of times. I am terrified as a fan of a team in the NFC West that Seattle's literally rebuilding the Legion of Boom right in front of our very eyes. And I don't think the Rams have seen that from anybody this year. I don't even want the points. I'm on the Hawks on the money line, which is going to come back up here in about 10 minutes when we get to our liquid locks. T, your pick on this one and then our final one.
Taking the Seahawks with the points.
There you go. That's scary. Congratulations, Rams fans. We just jinxed the Seahawks. Final one that we're going to get to tonight, just because of time purposes, not the last of the big games this weekend. T and I will touch a little bit on Lions Eagles tomorrow at the end of Lunchtime Live, but Chiefs and Broncos. And I'm going to put this up here, guys, because we've all talked about it. Everybody's said it. I think it's very poetic for this week. If I can click the right damn button here. There you go. There's the bottom of the graphic. We've talked about this Broncos team a lot, and I'll add another rando stat that I saw today. And this, I think, encapsulates the Broncos very much right now in all of us trying to gauge who the hell they are. The Broncos lead the league in punts and are tied for the best record in the entire league. Like, those two things don't go together. And one thing that we will never do and have never done and actually speak very much against it on this show is you are what your record is. No matter who you play, you still have to get the job done. You still have to accomplish the objective in front of you. And Denver has done that. But much like the rest of the AFC, and I'll start with you, Mac, Denver's very flawed here. And Kansas City has had their own issues. This is an interesting game this week because I don't think a lot of people think Denver's actually that good.
I would be in that camp. I don't think they're that good. And Kansas City, you want to talk about building. They have kind of built themselves up throughout the course of this season, and they finally kind of have almost everybody back now. I know Pacheco is still out. But listen, I think this is almost got to be, it's kind of funny to say this about Kansas City, but I think for Kansas City, this has got to be a statement game. I don't think Kansas City wants to go in there and win this game like in TJ's favorite way, a safety in overtime, or a field goal off the crossbar, this, that, and the other thing, 3 ways. I think Kansas City wants to go in and make a statement because right now, even though people don't believe in Kansas City right now, and Kansas City needs to make a statement, I think they make a statement because I don't think this Denver team is all that good. I think Kansas City wins this game, again, pretty easily.
Hey, before you make your pick and go, we just got a comment that I can't wait to show because it directly involves you, T. Give me your thoughts on this game and your pick so we can catch up on some time here and get out at an appropriate time because that's what we do.
We say that teams are what they are, and you're right. The Broncos are 8-2. They also have the 4th best defense in the league, and I don't think that's anything to shake a stick at. And so when you're watching these games that are 10-7, 13-11, whatever it is, there's a reason. The Raiders are awful, but there's a reason why they only scored 7 when they just last week their offense just blew up against Jacksonville. There's a reason why teams are not scoring many points against the Broncos, and that's because their defense is really good. That being said, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. This needs to be a statement game on the other side by the Broncos. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Very shocking. And I agree with you a lot there. The other thing I'm going to bring into the count and into the fray here is the defensive coordinator for Kansas City, who is very good at making really good quarterbacks feel very uncomfortable. Bo Nix is a good quarterback that's trying to be a really good quarterback, but he hasn't gotten there yet. And this Broncos offense has not gotten there yet. And you guys know how much I love Bo Nix. But yeah, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I don't love that the number's over 3.5 here. I think it's going to be a close game. But I think the Chiefs have been waiting for this one for a little bit of time here. And it's an opportunity for the Chiefs to go, not dead yet. Not dead
100%.
And then Chiefs comment I was talking about, but our guy Cody checking back in. I think a lot of Giants fans want that right now. If I'm Spags, I'm not leaving where I'm at. I'm just not. Shy, my HVAC guy checking in, and he says Bo Nix is overrated, not consistent enough. Happy Feet will do that. I agree with that. The point that I wanted to drop in here from my guy Shy. The Bears. T, you've seen the NFC playoff picture. Mac and I talked about this last night. For those that don't know, TJ is not the biggest fan of Caleb Williams. Mac and I both picked the Bears to go to the playoffs. I picked them to win the North, which is now still an actual possibility when I said it wasn't a couple weeks ago. If the Bears go to the playoffs, T, he's already like, it's giving him the heebie-jeebies. He's hacking over there. T has to wear a Caleb Williams jersey that Mac and I both have in our NFLshop.com carts, waiting to click buy to make sure it gets to T in time for the Bears in the playoffs. How do you feel? It's the halfway point. It's time to check in. How do you feel? How do you think it's going to finish before Liquid Locks?
I still have all the hope in the world that this is going to crash and burn. All the hope in the world. I'm waiting for Cam Rising to show up on somebody's sideline and just hobble out there and just get overrated Caleb just all rattled to all hell. I'm just waiting.
Cam Rising would actually be a good option for the Cardinals at this point. I found this very interesting. That T, you could have to rely on my team to help you. Help me, help you. You could have to rely on my team to keep you from wearing a Caleb Williams. The subtle ironies in this are ridiculous. You're nervous. You can admit to our audience you're nervous.
I could also rely on the Vikings, the Steelers, the Eagles, the Packers, the Browns, the Lions. Anytime any of those guys would like to show up and play a football game against the Bears would be great.
It's a fair point because the Bears' schedule down the stretch here is absolutely brutal. All right, let's get into Liquid Locks because it's a hump day. I will go first here. One of them I already talked about. Seahawks on the money line. I believe in Mike McDonald. I believe in this team. I believe they're every bit of a Super Bowl contender. So the Seahawks on the money line was a no-doubter for me. The other side of that, I'm going to stick with, maybe this is a bet for happy wife, happy life, happy home, something along those lines, because my other bet is the Niners, and I'm telling you right now, jump on it while it's -3. The Niners are on the road this week at Arizona, a 4-game stretch here coming up that I said last night will make the Niners 10-4 1 week after their bye when they pound the Titans right in the face, as Mac likes to say. The Niners and the Cardinals. No Marvin Harrison.
They don't use them anyway.
No Zay. The Cardinals couldn't even practice today. They had to do a walkthrough on a Wednesday because of their injury situation. This number should not stay at -3 San Francisco because I think the Niners are going to absolutely put one on the Cardinals this weekend. Because the Niners know what's at stake for them. They have a game against Chicago. They have a game at Indy. They have a game with Seattle. That's how the Niners close their year. Everything the Niners could want is right in front of them. So -3 is like stealing your kid's Halloween candy, which both of you did not even a couple weeks ago. So Seahawks, Niners -3, Hawks on the money line, plus 358 if you want to put them together. TJ, before the man that we named this segment after, Vegas Mac.
We talked about the Seahawks and the Rams earlier, and do I think the Rams can score 28? The answer is no, but I think that the Seahawks can, and I think that they will. In fact, I think they'll score 35. I'm taking the over in the Seattle Rams game, plus it's pseudo indoors, and even if it rains, there won't be any, it'll be stay dry on the field. And the Vikings start the crash right now. Give me Minnesota. Give me all the JJ McCarthy-ness right now. Give me the Vikings.
Another betting nugget for you here. Just because, again, we are a show by the people, for the people, and about the people here. If you screw this up, don't say I didn't tell you. The Seahawks, in their last 2 games in the first half, 69-14, they've outscored their opponents. They own an 11.4 point per game differential in the first half this season. So if you're on the fence and you think Matt Stafford is the MVP like everybody says he is right now, ironically, I said that in our NFL preview, and I realized today that was the only one of our bets from our NFL preview show that I actually didn't bet. Boy, does that look stupid right now. Seattle in the first half, a wagon. Just keep that in mind. Vegas Mac, the stage is yours.
All right.
I don't think you've emptied the laundry room, as far as I know.
No, our dryer is out, so yeah, our laundry room is terrible right now. I'm going home for this. I'm going home for this week, and what I mean by that is, I'm going to start it with Boston College. Boston College this week, they're playing Georgia Tech. It is the red bandana game. For those of us who don't know the red bandana game, Wells Crowder, one of the heroes on September 11th, went to BC. Every year BC has one of these games where he was known for wearing his red bandana. That's how people recognize him. And so they're doing the red bandana game this week against Georgia Tech. Listen, it's been a tough year for BC. We know that. I mean, just from every aspect of it. I don't know that they're going to win this game, but I'm getting 16.5 points. So I'm going to take every single one of them with a red bandana, and I'm taking BC in that game. And then I'm staying home. I'm staying close to home. The Yukon Huskies. Listen, I get it. I know they haven't played the schedule that, everybody, thinks that they should or whatnot. But listen, the bottom line is they won 7 games. They beat Duke last week. So we're going to put it there. And they're 7-3 on the year. They're playing an Air Force team. Air Force is always tough. They haven't had a good year, but I'm all in on this. I think the Huskies get win number 8. I'm going to take the Huskies -8. Welcome home for this weekend.
For those of you wondering that know Vegas Mac, that was an actual football liquid lock, not a basketball liquid lock. Mac he's one of the 11 people that watch Yukon football. He's one of the 4 people that watch Yukon soccer as well. So plenty of stuff there. We appreciate. Go ahead.
Hey, listen, huge win last Friday night. Down 1-0.
That's my fault, T. I did that.
Yeah. Listen, down 1-0 on the road in a game they had to have. They scored 2 goals in the last 4 minutes of the game. They made it to the Big East tournament, and they're going to play they're going to play Akron. They could host a first-round NCAA game. I'm very excited about the men's soccer team. Man, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that.
Add Yukon soccer to the list of randos that you would never expect to talk about on our show. We actually need to put that bingo card out. T, any final words tonight?
I think Max stole all my final words.
You're so full of shit. It's unbelievable. All right. So tomorrow, lunchtime live, TJ and myself will give you our Saturday. We'll talk about Thursday night football. Yes, we have to. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, Drake May is the MVP, according to everybody. The Jets are on a 2-game winning streak, for whatever that's worth. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Eagles-Lions game, the other really big game for this weekend. So for everybody behind the scenes, a little long tonight. We appreciate you all hanging out with us. For TJ, for Vegas Mac, I'm Mike. You guys have been with us. You know the drill.